It's your third favorite podcast host, Nick and Amy, for another episode of the Ultimate Intimacy Podcast. After this podcast, we're going to bump it up to number one, your number one favorite. So this is going to be another good podcast.
Where did you pull out number
We're
three?
coming out with the gold. I don't know. I'm just because if I said sixth or seventh, then everyone would laugh and
Only the
the whole six, seven
teenagers
thing.
that aren't over it yet.
Apparently, I was in church the other day and I said, six or seven, and everyone started laughing and giggling. I'm like, what?
Oh
What
my
is so
gosh.
ridiculous? Okay, anyways, move me on from that.
I think it's funny because it's so ridiculous. Anyways, I have oh wait, what are we talking about today? Oh, we're talking about
Yeah.
backgrounds.
No, we're talking about no one teaches you how to be married.
Oh yeah, backgrounds.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
backgrounds too.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're
Did
gonna
you get taught
discuss
how
on
to be
that.
married?
Oh, I got taught nothing. Our honeymoon night was
About that. We're talking marriage, not just sex.
I know, but there's so many things within marriage. You got communication, you got sexual intimacy, you got emotional intimacy,
Did
you
anyone teach
got
you any of those things?
no, I didn't know
No.
anything. I got, we're kind of carrying over from our last episode,
Our
just
last Tuesday's episode.
last Tuesday, excuse me, where we're talking about like, kind of things that we learned that we
Hmm.
didn't realize would
Right.
happen. And I think this goes along with it. Like, we hear from so many couples like, oh, we just got in marriage and we had to learn things. We didn't know. I mean,
Hmm.
think of it. Like you have children here. I remember our first child putting our child, the son, in the car from the hospital, and I was terrified. I'm like,
We do.
if he lasts more than 24 hours, it's going to be a miracle.
I took care of
Like,
everything.
but you just have all these things happen in marriage that you're like so unprepared for and you feel so inadequate for. And the point of this podcast is, I think for those of you who have been, married a couple years or even 20 or 30 years or whatever, you've built your marriages upon a foundation, so to speak, of not really knowing what you were doing, us included.
Agreed.
As we shared last time, the first many years of our marriage, we were trying to figure things out, figure each other out, learn how to be married, I guess. And
Hmm.
it was really difficult. And I'd love, if you've listened to our previous podcast with Austin, one of the things that Austin talks about is when couples come into him, many times they're broken and he's like, look, we don't want to rebuild what you had because what you had sucks, right? Like that's
Hmm.
why you're here. Let's rebuild something new. And I really love that. And I think that's so powerful. And so for the couples out there listening that are like, you know what? The last X amount of years or whatever, we've had to learn all these things and gain these tools. I think it's important to know like you can get rid of that and
Hmm.
rebuild something new now that you have the right tools and
Agreed.
understand more things in marriage. So sorry, I kind of got rambling there, but I
You
kind of
did.
wanted to just preface what we're going to talk about in this episode.
As you were talking, I was thinking we go to school. We go to like elementary. For us, it was junior high. Then it was high school, so intermediate, middle, whatever your school system looked like. We go learn. And then we go to college and we learn what our career is going to do. And we do all the basics. And then we deep dive into our career. I went into graphic design. So I'm doing computer, website, like hardcore computer classes for a while. And I'm learning these things, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm learning how to do something because I'm about to get into it for my life, right? And I was thinking, who teaches us about marriage? Who, like, if your parents didn't have a good marriage, who taught you about
Which mine
marriage?
didn't.
Yours
They're
didn't.
divorced.
My parents were okay. There were a lot of things that I was like, definitely not going to do that. Definitely different personalities, apparently.
Yeah.
Obviously, my parents were great, but like, there's things I'm like, I'm not doing that. I don't want my marriage to look like that. There are some aspects of my parents' marriage that I absolutely wanted to implement. And so but like a lot of people come from one single parent or a broken family, a toxic family, abusive family. Like there's just all these experiences. And it's like, where are we learning good marriage foundations? Like, where do we learn that? Like, why doesn't anyone
Well,
send us to a class before we get married and say, these are all the important things that you need to learn before you get married? Okay, now you can get married, right? We all just kind of jump into, I'm so madly in love. I can't wait to. and have babies with this person and start a life and a family. It's going to be so beautiful. And then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this is really hard.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
You're a man, I'm a woman. We're so freaking different. Like, how do we do this? And it takes, I don't know how to communicate. Well, how are we supposed to fix things if we don't know how to communicate? Like, you know?
Yeah, and so I think the whole point of this podcast, again, just to reiterate, is like if you're in a time in your marriage where you're like, man, I really want to turn things around and I want to have the
Mhm.
marriage that we've always wanted, and your spouse feels the same way. um be, what's the word I'm looking for, like, not forgiveness, not forgiving, but like
Gracious.
be gracious and compassionate with each other, and understand, like, you know what, when we were going through this and building our marriage, we didn't have the tools or things that we
Mhm.
needed, and so what we've built thus far, or the mistakes that we've made, like, let's be forgiving to each other and understand that we were both kind of learning
Right.
and didn't
Right.
understand what we were doing. But now that we're a little more mature and have a little more wisdom, how can we build the marriage on the foundation now that we've always wanted? And like Austin says, rebuild our marriage to what we
Hmm.
want, instead of building our marriage back then to what we didn't even know.
Hmm.
And so I don't
We've
know.
had to do that several times in our life. Like, this was like this, and now we need to reshape it like
Oh, I
this.
would totally say
We
we
had
rebuild our
this. We
marriage.
don't want this. This is not working for us. We need to turn it around and do this. And we've done that a lot.
Wouldn't you agree that we've rebuilt our marriage pretty
Yeah.
significant? Like,
Well, major rebuild 2017, right?
it was probably like
Or 16 or
it was
15,
probably
somewhere
like a big car wreck to where our car got completely
destroyed.
destroyed, and they said, "Yeah,
Right.
we're not even going to fix it. Let's just let you get a new car."
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Like, insurance kicked in. Our insurance was
That we are committed.
that we were committed, and
Yeah.
obviously our religion and our beliefs in
Right.
Christ.
Hmm.
And so we decided to get a new car, so to speak, and
Hmm.
start over and put mileage on it.
That was a really good analogy.
And we put a lot of mileage on this new car
Since.
since. Yeah.
Wow. I'm
Oh,
impressed by
so
that.
I don't know
That
where
was
that came
good.
from. Usually my analogies make no sense, and you're like,
Okay.
what was Nick
Oh, that
talking
was a
about?
good one. That
Yeah.
was a good one. Wreck that car, buy a new one. I don't actually promote buying new cars. I think it's a bad decision. I did that and I regret it. But buy a newer car. Well, buy an almost new car.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so anyways, um, I was thinking maybe this is kind of like off topic. Not it's on topic, but maybe you could pick one thing that you saw with like growing up that you didn't want to implement maybe, and one thing that you loved between your parents that you want to implement?
Well, I don't know for sure. I mean, it's hard to know, like, did I pick up this
Or
because of
just
my
from
parents?
anyone, right?
So
Like,
my parents were never affectionate to each other, ever. Like, I never saw them hug, kiss, and they obviously got divorced. And so growing up in my house, there was like never really any affection. And I'm a pretty affectionate person. Just ask Amy. Like,
because of that, do you think?
I think it might be, yeah, I'm wondering if, like, because I didn't have any of that growing up, I need that in our
Mm,
marriage, right? Like,
right.
I want to be held, I want to be kissed, I want that physical touch, that affection, things like that. And
Mhm.
and the communication as well too. Like,
Right.
I mean, it's kind of funny, and I'll make fun of myself, but I mean, I probably have, in our relationship anyways, I probably have more some of the women's tendencies, right? Like, I like to talk more in our relationship. I need more affection.
I,
Quality time is important, like, you know,
yeah.
but obviously,
I think it's how you're raised, though. I
yeah,
mean, that's what we're talking about is because you are missing those things. So you feel like you, obviously not in a mothering sense, but like,
yeah,
you you need that more. And I was raised kind of opposite, where I was my dad was very
you're
masculine, very
right. Yeah.
independent. I felt like I had more of a relationship with my dad, who put me to work really
Oh,
hard at a very young age.
you had a very masculine upbringing.
I
Very
literally
masculine.
like I worked at a bakery, but I also did like hardcore road construction with my dad. And so I grew up with a very like strong work ethic slash masculine side. And he was very like masculine role in the family, very in charge, very responsible, very independent not really touchy
And
feely,
and
kind of emotionless. Not that I'm emotionless, but just I think I got a lot more of my dad. So it just shows you
and your
like
dad didn't talk much. Like
no,
he wasn't a talker, kind of just to the point, and I see that kind of in your
I
personality. Like I'll ask,
talker way more than he was, but I'm like I don't need to always be
but
talking.
I'll
Yeah.
ask Amy a question, and instead of being like, yeah, this, it'll be like, yes. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's
Or
not
no.
true.
No, and
He's
I'm
not
not,
toxic.
we do.
Please.
No, we totally do. But there's certain aspects to where like you're just a real straight to the point, yes or no.
Hmm.
And that's fine. There's nothing wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Because we do.
Hmm.
You and I have long, long conversations.
Yeah.
But there's also
Yeah.
aspects of our communication to where like you're just a real yes or no. And I think part of that's because your dad was
So
just
I think if you're listening, you probably have noticed in your own marriage, like I'm more this, I'm more that. I can see where she got that from this parent, and he got more of this from this parent. I think it's just interesting that what we and specifically maybe that parent that we were closer to or whatever that was that we felt maybe we need Austin on for this one.
well, no,
But
I think we're
like
good.
we're good. But like I think that we gravitate from what maybe we were missing or we needed more of, or we just got some of those traits from our parents. And so you come into
But
marriage
even
with certain traits and it's like, dang, like I don't have that trait, or you have a lot of that trait, or
yeah, and we kind of hit this in the last podcast, but even maybe around finances or things like that.
mhm.
Like you have a spouse that might be a real spender, you have a
Yeah,
spouse that might be a saver. You probably don't ever talk about that before you get married, or I would say most people probably don't.
right,
And you get into things and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, we're like totally different on
right.
this.
This is, and it's a big deal.
And it's a big deal, right? And all you know is what you know, and all I know is what I know, and we
Hmm.
both think that we're the right way, right? And then
Hmm.
that can cause
Hmm.
some division. You look at like communication, like you're never taught how to, argue or fight the right
Hmm.
way, or in a lot of cases, communicate the right way, with the
Right.
different communication styles or, things like that, or even just diving in with like different personality
Hmm.
types. And you have the love languages. I remember, and I've shared this in previous podcasts, but for those of you that are new, because I never ever saw my parents like give each other anything. The first Valentine's Day Amy and I had, I didn't give her anything. I was just like, oh, happy Valentine's Day. And Amy was used to just being just showered with the stuff coming from heaven for Valentine's Day.
For,
Like, um,
I dated very romantic men, not gonna lie.
yeah, okay. And the point I'm trying to make
And my
is
dad did it to my
I
mom. Yeah.
honestly, like at first, I was probably not real romantic
We were
because I just
we were
never,
dating, just not after we got married.
but again, I never saw that within my mom and dad's marriage. And so I'm
Hmm.
just like, oh, I don't even know what to do on Valentine's Day. Like, right. And
Yeah.
it really hurt Amy's feelings, and I didn't do it intentionally, but that's something as simple as that. Like, I'm like, oh, I never celebrated Valentine's Day. I didn't even know,
Mhm.
anything. And so, you know, just so many things that we aren't taught about being
Hmm.
married and the love languages and things like that.
So important. So love languages. Yeah, we're not even gonna talk about that because that's a whole. We've done many episodes on that, but so important. Yeah, I just agree with everything you're saying. Like, it's amazing how different. We thought we were like so alike. We got married
Yep.
super fast. I was young. I was like, this is
Oh,
wonderful.
we never even had an argument or anything when we were dating. I mean,
Our first year
I think
almost.
we both went into it and we're just like, oh my
This
heck,
is
this is going to be a
yeah,
perfect
yeah.
marriage. And then a couple years in, we're like,
Dang, you got
what?
that from your mom. Dang, you got that from your dad. This is trickier than we thought.
Yeah. Yeah. What's going on? What's going on?
So like he just said, if I was to pick something from my parents, um, I can't say that they were all over each other. They definitely had more affection than your parents did, obviously. What you already said about him showering her with gifts, like he knew, and I don't even know if my mom's really a gift love language, but he did like spoil her at
Oh,
holidays.
totally.
And so I grew up watching that, thinking like that was normal, right? Like Valentine's Day, I'm gonna get like roses and this, and Mother's Day and my birthday and our anniversary. And so,
Groundhog Day,
no,
St.
stop,
Patrick's Day.
no. Um, I think that I mean, I guess we're not really talking about expectations, but I mean, we're on the subject. Like, you go into marriage with these expectations, and you're like, wait, what just happened? Like, I thought this was going to look like this, and it doesn't. And then all of a sudden, you have like this argument, and then you have to hopefully talk about it and figure
Yeah,
it out, right?
yeah,
And it is always fixed with communication. He's like, I'm so sorry that I forgot our first Valentine's Day. I didn't realize. I didn't know that kind of stuff meant to you. He did take me to dinner, which is a lot. Some women don't even get that. So it wasn't like I was trying to be ungrateful. I just love flowers. I was a flower person. I was a gift person. And I knew that he wanted to go to dinner, and we picked where he loved. So
we did.
yeah, we went to Tony Roma's when it
Oh,
existed because
that's,
you love your steak and
you got
ribs.
a great memory.
And I just remember thinking, okay, like we had a great discussion about it. I'm like, this is what a great Valentine's Day would look like to me, and this vice versa. And you start having those conversations, and then it fixes it, right? Because there's no
Um,
unmet expectations.
yeah. Well, and then a big one obviously is sexual intimacy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a little vulnerable here.
Are you?
Like
Because you never
I,
are.
yeah, I'm never vulnerable. Like our honeymoon night was hilarious. For me, well, it was embarrassing. My parents never talked to me about any of that. I just thought it was
I didn't
like,
know I had to teach you
insert
something.
part A into part B, and that Amy was going to enjoy it
Mm-hmm.
immensely because,
Nope.
yeah. So, I think that's something we're never taught about going into marriage too. Is like, oh, now all of a sudden, like the most vulnerable and could be very uncomfortable. You're laying it all out there. And by the way, go do this, and you're both supposed to just enjoy it immensely. And
Mm-hmm.
like you're never told
Yeah.
anything. Just go do it, right?
It's
And
okay to do now. Yeah.
yeah, it's okay to do. And for some people, being told their whole life like it's bad, 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 you shouldn't do it. We hear from countless couples, as you can imagine, that this is one of the main issues in their marriage. And again, I think it goes back to just not being taught.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, anything
Mm-hmm.
about it. And that's why Amy and I,
Unless you were someone that maybe watched something or friends or just got into it, before marriage, whatever that looks like to you. Like you're taught not by the or I mean, we're this discussion is like what you were taught from your parents, right? So like you're finding information from places that
or what you're not
probably
taught.
or not taught that probably should have come from the parents, right? So
Yeah, exactly. But
right.
there's so many aspects of just going into marriage and having
Mm-hmm.
no idea, like, what in the world? Like, what am I doing?
So we have had so many discussions in our marriage. Okay, our kids are approaching the more, son's 21. He could be getting married in the next few years. Daughter's, almost 19. She could get married in the next few years. Who knows? Like, right? Like I keep telling my kids, I'm like, I'm not gonna let you go into your wedding night not knowing anything. Or I'm not gonna let you get married until I teach you about emotional intimacy and about all these different areas of intimacy and how important this commitment is and all these and love languages and daily affection and how to keep the passion. Like
Yeah.
I just want so bad for my kids to have that foundation of at least knowledge before they get into it because I'm like, well, I think back in the generations they were scared to
Talk about
talk
things.
about certain things or really sit us down and prep us for what we were about to get into. I think that's normal for most people and they get in marriage they're like, I had no idea what I was getting into, right?
Well, and I mean, I talk about all the time. If we would have had the tools that we have now at the very beginning, how many problems or things would we have not gone through, right?
Right.
Now, I also am a
Mm-hmm.
big believer that like your trials and the
For
things you
sure.
go through can make you stronger, but how many couples out there, instead of looking at it that way, have let it deteriorate
Mm-hmm.
their relationship? And
Mm-hmm.
so as we wrap up this podcast, we're keeping it a little bit shorter, but as we wrap this up, the point we're trying to make is if you don't have the marriage that you've wanted, whether you've been married 5 years or 50 years, it's give your spouse some grace and
Mm-hmm.
recognize that you both went into this not knowing
Right.
probably anything about the different aspects of marriage. And as you made mistakes and as you did things that maybe helped you grow further apart instead of closer together, it's not too late to get rid of that old way and build a new foundation and have the marriage that you want. Hit that reset button, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
We're really big believers of that. We had a gentleman email us this morning, and his email was almost like, oh, it's like too late, right? Like there's nothing we can do,
Never
at
too
least
late.
from his wife's standpoint. And you know, I don't know the whole situation or anything, but if you both want to have the marriage that you want, then you can both have the marriage that you
Hmm.
want, and take the tools that you have now that maybe from the experiences you learned along the way, and build the marriage that you want to have now.
Love it. Love
Do you
it.
have anything to add or say to
I
that?
don't think I have anything to add to this. That was good.
All
I
right.
loved your analogy today. Burn it down, wreck it, whatever. Just in the terms of you have to start new. Like drive that car, it's gone, right?
Yeah.
Start over, rebuild it. When we had Austin on, it might have been a couple months ago, we talked about a house and a foundation. Like you have to do the footings, you have to pour the cement, you have to have that foundation you build up from that, right? And so if you want your marriage to have a really strong foundation, like you have to just be like, okay, let's go right back down to the ground. Let's set the boundaries. We just did an episode on boundaries. Like let's set the boundaries. Let's work on the forgiveness and the healing. Let's work on those basics, and then let's put back into the love and the connection and build it
Yeah.
up, because the roof is going to be your sexual intimacy. When the house has a strong foundation and strong walls, everything is going good, it's healthy. That's when like the sexual intimacy is the cream of it's the top, it's
Yeah.
the dessert, that's when it's great. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't belong at the bottom and be a big part of marriage. I'm not saying that. It's a part of the whole marriage, but that's when it becomes passionate, is when it's at the top as a reward that we're so united, we're so in love, like we're such good friends and teamwork and all those feelings. Like that's when the intimacy becomes passionate, and that's what we want, is ultimate intimacy, right? Like
Yeah. That's what we're here talking
that is
about.
the gift. When you think of sexual intimacy, it's like that is the gift that God gave. That is because the foundation, the emotional intimacy, everything is already so strong. And that's what we have to do, is we have to build that foundation. And for our kids, we talk about it all the time. Like when you teach your kids what a good foundation is in a marriage, and that comes from your example, that means that you've already have tried your very hardest. No one's perfect. There's no family, there's no parents, there's no marriage that's perfect. But when your kids see you trying, when they see you trying to build that foundation and date each other and keep it passionate and keep it loyal and exciting and all those things, like I don't know, you're giving them a real gift.
Yeah. So this week we'd encourage you to sit down with your spouse, listen to this podcast, and then talk about the things or the ways that you can rebuild your marriage and the things that you want to make better, and have that discussion. And I think it'll be the start of building an amazing foundation to have the marriage that you've always wanted and desired. So we appreciate you listening to the podcast. And until next time, we hope all of
Yep.
you find ultimate intimacy in your relationship.